Howdy YouTube. So today we have another big thing which looks a bit like an oscilloscope, but it's not an oscilloscope. It's one of those. Yep, this is an automatic direction finder, or ADF. So I guess this is some kind of radio compassy type thing which told you which direction you were going by comparing various radio signals which it got from somewhere. Yeah, I don't really know, to be honest. So it's got this dial on the front here, which I guess is where you set a heading, and presumably this little needle will turn around to tell you what direction you're facing relative to that heading. It's got a big handle on the front, a little knob which does nothing more than turn the screw on the back to lock it in position. On the back it has a great big connector with lots of silver plated pins and a few little coaxial things, a single screwy job to hold the case on, and yeah, that's about it. So it weighs a ton. Let's take it apart with a screwdriver. So first things first, just undo that little catch on the back and the whole case will come off. Okay. So this is really quite a nicely made thing. It's full of valves. It's quite old, kind of 60s vintage. Everything plugs into this main chassis system where all the connectors are, and you can unscrew all these little modules a piece at a time, so they're each individually screwed in. A few nice little features here, some funny moving bits, all kinds of geary things. So yeah, let's take some of these modules out. Start with this power supply. All the screws in this look quite well worn, so I guess some of these modules have been in and out quite a few times. So you'd sort of expect that for valve gear. It was probably serviced quite a lot and had quite a few parts replaced. The valves are all a mismatch of makes and brands, so it's definitely seen quite a lot of hours of use. Another one hiding behind there? Yes, there is. So here's a power supply, a brick I guess you could call it. That connector's been put in rather badly actually, and it's all bent up, so I guess maybe this thing didn't work very well, if at all, which is interesting. A couple of valves, an inductor, a big transformer. It's a 400 Hz transformer, so not a lot of use for anything really. Some ancient electrolytic capacitors, kind of crusty. Yeah, that's a rather boring module. Let's have a look at this next one, which is loose because I already loosened it. Here we go. So we've got some more valves. A lot of these valves are RF, variable mu, pentody type things, so they're actually designed to be non-linear, so they're not a whole lot of use for anything else. There's one or two kind of 12x 70 type things, and okay, yeah, there's a 6BA6. So yeah, it's mostly RF stuff that isn't frightfully reusable. Got a big transformer inductory thing there. Lots and lots of these relays. That's quite nice. And a connector and some little bits of strip board. So this is where it starts to get interesting, I guess. We've got these great big long, I think they're quartz oscillators in glass tubes like valves. Now we'll see elsewhere in this thing that they do have quartz oscillators in normal metal packages. So I don't quite know why they've decided to use these two big massive fragile glass ones here. But they have, and if I can work out how to get them out, oh, here we go. So this is 55.5 kilocycles or kilohertz, and it's got a great big long crystal down the middle, supported on nothing but two little gold wires by the look of it. So yeah, that's quite interesting. It's actually got bits of detritus floating around inside the tube as well. Yeah, as I say, I don't know why they needed to use something so massive and fragile, but I guess they had their reasons. Let's put that back. Is this one the same? This one is... oh, this one's only 55 kilohertz. So yeah, there we go. On the rest of here we just have a load of valves again, a load of relays and lots of inductory things and transformers with adjustable cores, I guess. What have we got in these boxes? Okay, so that's just a load of capacitors, and that's some random stuff. Complete with, are they transistors? No, maybe they're diodes. So here is another big block with here just a whole lot more valves, some big capacitors, probably microcapacitors, another big transformery thing, and lots of really old components, really old and nasty capacitors. They've got all nasty and sticky and horrible. Yuck. My room is going to smell of old electronics for weeks after this. So that's most of the boring bits. Now we're getting on to the interesting mechanical parts. Let's do this one first. So this bit's really quite interesting. We've got this whole moving part here, which goes up and down, and on it are mounted all these little ferrite cores which go in and out of these inductor, transformer, whatever they are. There's inductors, I guess, for a tuned circuit, and there's a whole load of capacitors down there as well. So as this thing moves in and out on its motorized little runners there, we'll see the mechanics in a second. It can retune all these circuits at once. I don't know why they would need to do that, but obviously they do, and it's a very nice little mechanism that they've come up with to do it. On this side we just have some passive stuff, and here we have a whole load more valves and a great big switch here. If we take this cover off, so all these things are actually electromagnetic clutches. There's a little electromagnet in the bottom half. When it's energized, the two halves are locked together. This is very typical of 60s type electromechanical assemblies. I guess full electronic servo control of everything like we do nowadays would just take up too much space when you've only got valves to work with. So these kind of clutch systems and one single motor were very common. If we have a side look, so the whole gear train is coupled to the bottom halves of these. You probably can't see that very well, but if I get a pen and make marks across all of these like that. In turn one, you can see that the bottom, the base halves are all coupled together, and the top halves are at the moment free. So when the magnet is energized, these two halves will be coupled together on depending on which one is energized, and they would couple to different parts of the assembly. So if I just turn this top half of this one, you can see that it turns the main shaft of that big multi-way switch there, and it will be the same for these. Okay, yeah, there we go. So this one turns that. In fact, both of these seem to have the same function, and there's one underneath there which does the same. So I guess I'm not quite sure why they'd have three clutches. Maybe the traction on one or two clutches just was not enough on its own. Possibly, maybe, don't know. But yeah, interesting nonetheless. So this final module, you can see, is full of quartz crystals. So yeah, this was a bit I was talking about earlier. Yep, here we go, a whole massive heap of quartz crystals. So yeah, quite why they needed those big glass ones in that other unit, I don't really know, but yeah, here they all are. And we have another motor, same sort as the last one, and three more of these little clutch assemblies. This time they each control their own little rotary switch. So here we can see the drivetrain. Yep, that's all quite nice. Probably I won't be able to get this gearbox apart either, but maybe I'll have a go in a bit. So that leaves us with the front panel. I can't quite get the right angle on it, so we'll just have to do it like this. And the front display plugs in like every other module in this machine. Here you can see the readout. You turn this dial and the outer ring turns, and the inner needle is obviously going to be controlled by motor. So there's actually a surprisingly small black box on here. So we take this off and we see some really new stuff. Well, really new, relatively new. So yeah, this has obviously been repaired at some point. We have some modern looking synchro type things and a nice precision gearhead right alongside this really ancient aluminium thing. That is a synchro control. Oops, sorry. That is a synchro control transmitter. This is a, doesn't say, some sort of motor. And that doesn't say what it is either. Probably some sort of synchro thing. Yeah, there we go. So there's a very nice little drive system. And now the needle's wobbling. So yeah, that was it. This outer ring was only controlled by this dial, so that must have been a heading setting that you programmed in before you set off. So here is half of the chassis with one of the bits of framework taken off, with this bit taken off. Now which way round would this have been? This would have been the top of the machine, and that's the back, and that would have been the front. So you can see this bar going through here. That was for the tensioning rods. We've got a couple of these universal joint things on each end. That's quite nice. And this wiring loom that goes around here. Big connectors, all these D-type connectors, and some coax. Fairly crusty coax. Yeah, that isn't really come off. Finally! Right, so the motor went in the back here and turn these gears, which turn that gear, which turns all of these. These are the clutches, so you've got two contacts there, which were connected to by these little wipers as they rotated. So that's quite nice. Let's see what's in there. So you can see the electrical contacts being made there. This looks like it's all potted, so that's probably not going to come apart at all. With some little micro switches. These funny shaped things contacted the micro switches as they went round and provided some feedback. This is all just rotary wafer switches and a whole load of crystals. Nice little bronze bushings there. Well, that's a nice little gearbox. If a rather messy one. I don't know what these gears are actually made of. It looks like copper, but I rather doubt it is, because copper wouldn't be a very good material to make gears out of. Maybe some sort of bronze. So here's one of the bearing slides that this thing would up and down on. Which interestingly has an electromagnet in it. They both do. Maybe it was to lock this in place once it got to the right position. So they're all the ferrite cores. That's quite nice. Go to them. Oh dear. I've needed these the entire teardown and they've only just turned up. Very ancient equivalent of a PCB. And here we have a whole load of little variable capacitors that made up all these tuned circuits. I guess these are variable capacitors as well. That's quite a nice design of variable capacitor, which I haven't seen before. So there we go. I think that's it. Another thing, thoroughly taken apart. What a mess I've made. I hope you enjoyed it. Come again.